lovely Leech Lake. This is one of my favorite bodies of water. I know you've got a ton of experience, and so do you, so
Yep.
we got a good day ahead of us.
Yeah, I love this lake. It's one of those lakes that has a little bit of everything, and everything in it can get big. That being said, doesn't mean they're going to jump off your hole, but it's a phenomenal lake.
No doubt.
Yeah, you've been guiding here for close to 30 years and seen the big changes, but it's still a lake that has quality fish of most all species, so it's a fun one to fish.
Like you mentioned, bro, Leech is so diverse. It's like Steamboat Bay is its own lake, Walker Bay, Agency Bay, totally different bodies of water compared to Sucker, Portage Bay. Boy, headquarters, there's so many different types of habitat in this lake and different fishing opportunities in all of them.
Well, just a lake that's got jumbo perch, that doesn't happen everywhere. And then
Right.
healthy walleye population, crappies that could push over 15 inches, big bluegills, trophy muskies, whitefish that held the state record for quite a while, and everything else. I mean, it's the dream lake for someone to fish or retire on.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to give those jumbo perch a whirl today, I think, and I'm sure we'll bump into a few walleyes while we're at it too. So
Absolutely.
we're going to go cut a few more.
Right on. All right, there he is, slab wrap walleye. It's amazing how the quality walleye fishery that Leech Lake provides. It's one of those deals that years ago it had kind of gone through a crash, but now there's just an abundance of quality fish in the lake. The fishery's changing, but it's just incredibly healthy. Really comes down to management. They've just done a heck of a job managing this place, so you can come out and catch fish every time you're here. It's just great. Get them back. See, dude.
So that's sort of been the theme of this trip. I'm not catching anything, and Bill Linder, famous photographer Bill Linder, came to help shoot, and he's fishing, and he catches a nice walleye. So just one of the quality fish from Leech Lake. Good job.
There we go. Oh, I love fishing this lake. You know, the neat thing about this lake is the aggressive fish. Oh, there's a nice one. This shallow water, they're just right there. I'm using a buckshot flutter spoon, and I like to tip it with a minnow head, just using like just the head or the front torso. And boy, these are beautiful fish out here. Buckshot rattle spoons, swim baits, rattle baits work. They're aggressive fish, and they're just kind of scattered around. The lake is full of walleyes. Perch aren't everywhere in the lake. Perch generally are in weeded areas, and in the winter sometimes there can be perch in the muddy areas of the main lake, the deeper water. But for the most part, they move up on these flats. Oh, there's a nice one. They move up on the flats to feed on crayfish. Oh, that's a beauty.
Yeah, that's what we've been.
That's a good eater right there. Nice perchy. Chasing these and catching walleyes, and on the nice days they bite, and on the bad days they bite. So there's always something out here. I'm kind of a spoon guy. I love using spoons everywhere I go, and the buckshot rattle spoons are great spoons. I've used buckshot flutter spoons, which are wide and flip to the side, and rattle baits. But this fire belly spoon, it's a buckshot fire belly spoon. This one here has a light stick in it, and you see this is parrot. It's a great color. Anything that's named after a tropical bird, you know, is going to have a lot of color to it. But it's got a light stick in the back, and it's made out of zinc, so it tumbles more. And not every spoon has the flip all over the place. Sometimes they just need to shimmy to the side. This one closes a lot of deals. Super cool, and it's got a double split ring, all zinc, a tremendous spoon, and that's the fire belly spoon. Just crack the light stick, put it in, catch fish.
Another nice one. Cool, we're getting them. You know, one thing when it comes to the equipment for perch, I generally tend to go a little heavier than lighter, especially up here. A lot of times it's just a few feet that you're fishing, you just lift the fish up. So I've got two rods that I'm fishing with. One is St. Croix's Custom Ice. It's the outside eye, so it's basically a walleye rod. I mean, jumbo perch can be the size of smaller walleyes, and we're running into quite a few walleyes. And the other one is the Perch Seeker, which is another just great option for fishing baits like the slab wraps, some smaller jigging wraps. But lure choices for me when I'm perch fishing out here are generally something basically bigger, you know, it's basically small walleye stuff that I can just get down quick, and it seems like the bigger baits often select for the bigger fish. That's not always true. Sometimes you do have to downsize, but when we're running and gunning like this, I just like to have a bigger stick. I'm running just a 6-pound Suffix 832 braid on here, a little barrel swivel, 6-pound fluorocarbon leader, and it's just boom, boom, boom. We can bounce hole to hole, fish with a little bit bigger baits. And when you get fish, you just gotta basically lift them up, boom, there they are.
Oh, here we go. This one looks like a better fish. Oh, there. Holy cow, he snuck up on me and nailed it. This one feels actually pretty decent. I don't think it's the perch we're looking for. Whew. Oh, dang it. Got off. That was a nice fish. That was a nice fish. It's kind of cool fishing. We're fishing pretty shallow here, like less than 10 feet over weeds. And you know, typically we're targeting perch here, but there's a lot of walleyes roaming in here. But it's crazy. It's like high noon right now, and we're less than 10 feet. And these fish are like way more active than they were this morning. So kind of a fun deal to fish.
Just a little jack. But the species keep piling up. That'd be a good eating pike. But he might be in the slot. You know, this lake is big and it can be intimidating to fish big water. And you know, when you do get on these areas like Portage Bay and Sucker Bay, there are just, of course, massive flats all over the lake. And one of the things that we'll look for is where the contour changes are so subtle that you're often looking for areas where the bottom changes. So Leech has a lot of carra grass. It's basically sandgrass, a lot of people call it, little algae that grows just a little bit off the bottom. But that holds a ton of fish generally. If you can find areas where it goes from, say, sand to sandgrass, or you might have cabbage or milfoil or different plant types, those can often be the key holding areas on these types of flats. So having a guy cutting, looking, you know, with their sonar for fish, and another guy in an underwater camera, that can be a really good program when you're trying to find fish in these areas that seem featureless. But there's so many fish in the lake, you often don't have to hunt that hard before you finally run into a few of them.
Well, you know, Leech Lake is a really big lake, and as you'll notice, I have my sled kind of tricked out for running and gunning. So I have a wide track sled in case I run into any slush. Plus it's studded. So if you get in slush and you hit the ice, it'll kick you back up. So most of the time this will float where other ones sink down. I have a winch. I don't have it on right now. I don't need it. But I have a winch that can go from front to back. I don't want to pull this thing out by hand. And you'll see I have auger ready for quick detach. Got my tackle box. And then in here you can put a box, but I like to keep it as light as possible. But I do have different rods and setups for run and gun style fishing, from micro baits to big spoons to glow stick style spoons that Northland makes, and then if I really start hitting them, I even got single hooks on eyeball spoons, and I have my Helix 7 here, but I also have one mounted on the handlebars, which is really nice because it acts as a graph. With the transducer attached, I could just drop it in and fish off the sled. You know, a long day, it's kind of nice. So I could run and drill a line of holes and come back and fish them through, or just walk around with a portable unit. The Leech Lake is giant, and you got to cover ground. And when you hit them, it's that old Kenny Rogers song. You got to know when to hold them or fold them, because you can sit there and get them. Sometimes they kind of drift through. Other times you just got to keep going. And if there's a lot of food in the lake, you have to move around a lot, because the perch don't have to swim, or the walleyes don't have to swim if they've got young of the year perch everywhere. Main lake of Leech has rock piles, a bunch of them, but they don't always hold fish. They hold them right before dark because they're cruising through. But to me, weeds are what get the Leech Lake fish going. So look for weeds, and then Walker Bay, there's shadowy edges. You know, Leech Lake, in the years I've been here, I've been guiding 26 years, but I've been fishing Leech Lake 10 years before that. So 36 years of fishing Leech Lake, I've seen some changes in the fishery. There used to be a lot more jumbo perch, really big perch, and big schools of them. Now they're still perch, just not quite like that. But back then, we didn't have as many big walleyes. It's actually become a spectacular open water and ice fishing walleye fishery. And with all the balances and different species of fish, it's pretty amazing to have a body of water like this. And I'm hoping that this lake can stay good for years to come.
It's a really nice eating sized perch. I think I'm gonna throw him out on the ice for tonight. So one thing about Leech Lake is it's big. It's 112 to almost 113,000 acres, and it's almost like multiple lakes together. But even a fish like that perch can get over harvested. So the size does save it, but fishing pressure increases over the years. So one thing cool about Leech Lake is they connect to each other around the lake. The businesses, the resorts, the fishermen, the guides, everybody, and they talk and assess how they think the fisheries are and talk to the DNR about it. And one thing that's cool is they're tightening up regulations here because they're seeing more fishing pressure up here. So to keep the good sized fish, they're proposing changing regs on the panfish. So this lake still has big panfish. There's good sized perch, there's big bluegills, and there's still big crappies. So to keep the count down, or the harvest down, they're proposing 5 fish bluegill, 5 fish crappie, 10 fish perch. And this might go in effect as early as next year or 2 years down the road. But by doing this, it's acknowledging that this lake is a good fishery and they want to keep it a good fishery. And the way you do that is to reduce harvest. So.